Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing my Code Geass Akito the Exiled Episode 4 review. So, a very good episode there. It's a long out, dragged out, thing that leads into the final episode of what's going to happen and where everyone's allegiance is. Because it's about, the hate and all that stuff, about everyone that's involved in this. So it starts off, got the episode starting off with Leila in the command center, and you got, Akito and the rest of the people, in that space, rocket thing or whatever that they were in a couple episodes ago. And they go out in it, and they disassemble, and they end up going into the island to battle. Sir Ashley ends up fighting them because he's waiting for them because he wants vengeance. For his one of his subordinates dying for him, basically. Akito has to fight him and whatnot there. They have all the coordinates and stuff. Eventually Akito gets to the point where he gets the Geass. It's a good battle, but eventually it leads into the Geass curse being activated for Akito, and he's like, die, you have to die, and all the other people around him, they start getting almost, the red eyes too, with the brain waves and stuff there, and they were like, no, you have to fight it, Akito, and stuff like that. So he's trying to fight it, but he eventually destroys the nightmare frame, and so he falls. Sir Ashley falls out, and so then he just starts taking his handgun and trying to shoot him because he wants vengeance and stuff like that. There, eventually picks him up. It looks like he's gonna crush him and stuff like that, and they're like, no, this isn't you. You cannot do this. You got to control it. And so he eventually does. The Geass curse wears off. So it does prove that Yuffie's resistance towards Lelouch's order isn't so far-fetched anymore now, is it? Because apparently they can fight the Geass orders, apparently. So, that can happen, I guess. After that, he basically gets out of the nightmare frame and basically just tells, Sir Ashley, just to kill him and stuff like that. So he gets the handgun. He hesitates to pull the trigger. He does pull the trigger, but there is no ammo in it, so out of bullets, and so Akito lucked out, kind of poetic there, as that's what he defined in the previous episode. So I guess that was the forgiveness, apparently, that he was judged that way. After that happens, an explosion on the island, assuming they all think that they all die, but they don't. But it appears they died. There was no signal, to indicate if they were alive or not. So didn't know where any of Akito or everyone else that was with him were alive or not. But I mean, come on, we knew they were alive. But so Leila, breaks down, and so they're not, happy about it. the second in command is like, you got to cheer up, you got to be our commander, basically, and stuff like that. You have to act like a commander there. So, you know, she continues to do the orders and stuff like that to what she can do. And, she tells the coordinates and stuff like that, managing the coordinates, because they can't find them. Meanwhile, Shin, for anyone, my last review, what he's up to, he used the Geass on his foster mother and his foster sister, and forced them to kill one another. Basically, the mother killed the daughter, and the daughter killed the mother, like, at the exact same time with the swords there. Like, kind of freaking brutal, if you ask me there. Very shitty way for them to die there. So yeah, that happened, unfortunately. Eventually, Gene Smiles, the I guess you can call him a dictator at this point, convinces Leila to basically, get the people buzzing or whatever there. So she gives a good speech. I think this is while they were fighting too. She gives a good speech. They have to stop with the hate. You know what I mean there? They gotta just rise above the hate. And it was a really good speech. And because the people in Europe were basically, rioting and stuff like that. And, Gene used her to, get the support, I guess, because, everyone was all happy for Leila. She's the father. The father was, a great leader or whatever, so they all really, liked Leila. But Gene, basically, I guess, he used that for his own gain. He was using that, I guess, because then after that, he basically said that she was dead, or shortly after that. But it was a really good speech, though, and it got people talking. So it was really cool speech. But then, of course, believe after that there was the scene with Suzaku and Julius Kingston. They were in some weird room just talking for a little bit, and that was all they pretty much did in this episode. Nothing really to go on them. Shin Hyuga, he was in his nightmare. Basically, his mission was to take out a castle. So they had to put defense mechanisms behind it, so they couldn't get in, which they weren't able to, because the bombs were... I believe they also said the bombs. That was another thing. The bombs, the mine bombs, were too slow to catch, the speed of his nightmare frame. So Shin was able to get past that. Um, while they were, putting the defense up there. Uh, Eventually, they get their soldiers for the Michael because Shin is in charge because his foster father was killed, or well, wasn't killed. He was ordered to commit suicide by Shin there. So yeah. Anyways, like I said, Leila takes a break after this happens. So next thing you know, there's this little thing with Annie for a little bit as they go out to the other room, and she's in she takes off her uniform or whatever, jacket uniform, and next thing you know, you have this TV broadcast with Jean. The people expect it's going to be Leila, but in reality it's Jean, and she pronounces that Leila is dead, which she isn't, because he wants to be the ruler of Europa, or Europe, and gives this contradicting speech. Oh, Leila's work will continue, because she's dead, but she's not dead. So, you know what I mean there? She's not dead, but, he's using this for his own gain to win the people over. And then, he got, Claus, who's second in command. He's basically saying that, what do you think I did this for? Because I guess he's a Britannian spy or something there. I don't exactly know, or it was really clarified, but, it was like, she knew about this, I guess, because it was he was doing this for his family or whatever. And it was like, if you knew this, why would you keep me around? I'd be a liability. It was like, she's like, because I felt you were a trustworthy person with a good cause. So, once again, soft commander, but still very effective commander there with Leila. He eventually explains that, Smiles is only doing this to gain the trust of the people, and that he's just going to be a dictator, and that we should surrender to the European Britannian, which is Sheen, basically. So, you got them. You got Leila and Claus, basically, going over there, driving over there in the boat to do the surrender thing to Sheen. And also, I also forgot to mention that I believe the Three Swords people, I think this was the night before, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, that was afterwards. No, never mind. That was afterwards. Basically, Leila goes to Sheen to surrender. She's with Claus. It was kind of weird that those were the only two that were brought there, when they left, with Annie and Oscar, they just kind of were like, let's hope it doesn't go to that, because he's like, I'm not qualified for this. So he's like, I'm not going to, it's like, hopefully it won't come to that. So they go over there, they talk, And they say, as long as you don't take us out, that's the one thing, a part of the surrender is not to take us out and stuff like that. Um, you got Jean, because she's just like all over this because, she loves Sheen for some reason. I don't exactly know why. I don't know what the affection is. I mean, yeah, but she's a Britannian. He's like Japanese. Like, I don't get it. Like, I know he's like an honorary Britannian type thing, but a lot of the Britannians still really look down on the Japanese, even honorary Britannians. So it's like, it's I guess it's possible. I mean, because Colin's like parents married too, but I mean at the same time he also divorced her. So I mean, it wasn't really, I guess, true love, if that's the case then. But I guess it's possible. So basically then you got basically then after that you got them basically, explaining the surrender. Sheen shakes Layla's hand and whatnot. And then he goes through, all the battle strategies and what had happened. And then she talks about how Akito is still alive and he's going to take you down because I believe in him. And, he's just like, oh, this is never going to happen, He's not going to do any of that stuff, with this whole believing crap, because she just believes in it. She believes in him, and stuff like that. And so eventually he is about to open the Geass up, his Geass, and basically order her to die. Little does Sheen knows is that Leila has a Geass of her own, and you see it. It's blue, which looks really cool too. By the way, it was really cool seeing a blue Geass. I was like, oh shit, she's got a blue Geass. Look at that. Look at that. Well, no, because in Code Geass, every person that had a Geass had a red one, other than Jeremiah Gutwell, aka Orange Boy. Other than him, he had like a blue Geass Eye, but the thing is Jeremiah's wasn't a Geass Eye, it was a Geass Canceller. So it made sense for it to be a different color, because it was a Geass Canceller. But one thing about Akito the Exiled, is they kind of are putting this whole motion that all these Geasses can actually have different colors. However, in Code Geass, the main series, that was never depicted. So it's really interesting because Sheen's Geass is kind of like a mixture of like a light tan green and a little lighter bright type red. It's really kind of a mixture type color. As we just seen in this episode, we finally seen a glimpse of Layla's Geass, which we don't exactly know what her power was from that. The thing about her Geass is, and I think this has been established in the series, at least I've seen it, is that most of the times when the Geass users have a Geass as well, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work on someone who has a Geass as well. I know we all know the Geass powers don't work on people that actually establish the contracts like C2 and whatnot, but people that have Geass powers as well as others that have Geass powers, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work on a Geass user, with the exception of Mao, because Mao can just randomly read minds. But usually Geass powers that are direct contact powers, like most of the users are, they don't usually work, and that's what I think happened. It's too early to establish what her, like, if it was just her Geass power itself that canceled it, or if it was in fact her power. However, after her Geass was activated, she then asked Sheen about what his plans were, and he basically said that his plans were to destroy everything, basically, including the Emperor of Britannia. So his motives are basically, genocide. He wants to, I guess, create his own world. So he really is just using the Britannians to cling his own goal. And of course, this does throw Jeans for a loop, but she still follows him, of course. He also then says, "We do not accept your surrender," and so then Jean just like goes, or not Jean. Then Sheen basically just tells the soldiers to kill them all. So the soldiers are still following him, even though the fact he just basically threatened the Britannian Emperor, which is kind of weird. But anyways, so before they can shoot them down, the two down, he has his gun ready. Claus has his gun ready. Akito is, there, and basically Akito confronts Sheen, and he basically basically orders him to kill Leila because of the Geass curse. He's about to do it. Leila just stands firm, and basically lets him do whatever he wants. And eventually, right at the last moment before he's about to crush her, he stops and says he can't do it. So, yeah, they have a special bond ship moment. And Leila is then picked up by the nightmare frame of Akito, and he says, watch out, it's going to be one tough ride. And then they go on the boat. They're on top of the boat together, and they leave, and they go back to the command center. And Annie and Oster are basically all happy. Cool moment. It was a really, this is the picture of that I used for this review. Really cool moment for both of them. Clearly they have a really strong bond, and hopefully we'll see it at the onset of this last episode that comes up very soon, whenever I get a chance to review that as well. So then I believe it was that nighttime, and you got Jean, basically being confronted by the army, the Britannian army, and these sword people, and she easily outwits the swords, and says, let's put that to good use, and stuff like that, and see what you guys are really made of. So there was that kind of stuff, because they followed the Sheen's foster father, and so now they have to follow Sheen because he's dead, and so they're following his orders, basically. So there was that. Of course, you got Yukio basically stays behind from Aeon and Ryo, and they basically go down together, and he stays behind because he wants to protect his friends. So he basically throws down an atomic bomb, essentially, I guess, to the Britannian soldiers, takes him out, and because of this, the swordsman dude sees where he is, and so he uses a gun to fire on top, and basically wrecks the ship that Yukino's on, so he most likely dies, or at least it kind of indicates that. And so that sucks for him. And then after that, we got, I believe the credits. The credits actually came up before that. It was kind of weird, and they didn't do the similar credits that they normally did for the first 3 episodes, where they show the pictures and stuff like that. Did not do any of that stuff. They just went right to the credits, just quick credits, normal, regular, traditional credits, and they showed that. And then after that happened, everyone was all sad, and then that was the end of that. And then I believe after that, showed the preview. They showed, which is kind of weird, they showed episode 4's title, and then after that they showed an image of Leila, in like ripped up clothes, or ripped up clothes of her uniform, of her once uniform, and then she has this blue Geass eye, but she kind of looks, she doesn't look like she normally looks like. She's just all pissed off type look. And they show, the final episode coming, 2016 or whatever, which it's already happened. But that's for like the Japan one. We've already got the episodes, obviously. But it'll be interesting to see what the conclusion is, because that kind of gives a good indication of what she's going to become. Maybe we'll see. I think because Jean proclaimed that she was dead, I think she's going to show herself to say, no, I'm not dead, and he's a liar, and he's just a dictator or whatever, something's like that. I think she's going to try to take charge. Something's gotta, because that Geass, she's got to be using that Geass for something, especially for the final battle, when she's going to have to fend off Sheen, and she's going to have to fend off Jean, obviously, because Jean has obviously betrayed her. So they're going to have to do something about that. And it will be a really, really cool conclusion to the series, and I really wish that these characters could have gotten more, because we only got one more episode. And I don't think they're gonna die, or at least I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna call it the main characters. That'd be kind of dumb. Especially after that indication, like the Geass, like, oh shit, like what the fuck, but nothing really utilized in this episode with Lelouch or Julius Kingston or Suzaku. Just that one scene. C2 was not in this episode at all. So, like I said, she was only in episode 3 so far, with the flashback scene that established Leila's Geass, and that was it so far. So hopefully we'll get to see C2 again in the next episode, because I really want to see C2 again. Because they gotta establish the Geass. They gotta establish, because she has to accept the terms, right, or something. So we'll see what happens. Overall, great episode, great fight scenes. I really like the cinematic feel to this, and I hope these characters, Akito and Leila, have such a really great bond. I can't see these characters dying in the next episode. Like, they've got to something be happening more with these people, but we'll see, because we don't know. I mean, they could go in that direction, that they win, or the Lelouch and Suzaku, we didn't see them that much in this episode, but I mean, they got to be a lot involved in the next episode. So they have to be. But I hope we don't see the end of these characters, because I really like these characters, and I really hope that we see them some more in this and maybe even in season 3. I really like these characters. Hopefully we'll see them down the line, because these characters are pretty cool. I guess we could say that she's kind of like Leila is kind of like the polar opposite of Lelouch. You know, Leila, I think it would be like the Nonali that wasn't like blinded and crippled type character. You know, she's like a general, but she wants to like be the, wants peace and stuff like that. So it kind of reminds me of kind of like this is a parallel type thing. This is what it would look like, I guess, so to speak. Just kind of an estimation. But let me know what you guys think of this episode. I thought this was really cool. Great episode, and I can't wait for the final episode, and I can't wait to do the final review whenever I get a chance to do that. And then, of course, I'll be watching the extras, and maybe, I don't know if they have the picture dramas. I haven't looked at it yet. We'll see. Because I thought they had picture dramas for this. I don't know, though, if they dubbed it or not. But that's about it. Comment, rate if you like this video or any of my other views. Please give me a like. And if you like this video or my other videos, please subscribe. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.